I brought you on because I wanted to talk about all this cool stuff you're doing. So maybe just talk about your job and kind of what you do first, and then we're talking about the cool things you covered, because you covered really three cool things in the valley that I thought were like kind of big deal as far as important events in Arizona. Um, do you maybe want to talk first about what you do, and
So for me, I actually,
what's the name of your company? I don't even know the name of it.
it's just my name, Slaven Creative LLC, because you got
Okay.
to make an LLC. You don't want to get sued by somebody and they go after your personal money. But
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of rebranding it. It's either going to be Urban House Creative, where we're going to have a bunch of creatives working together collaboratively to just produce epic content. But what I do is I used to call myself a photographer, but that's kind of becoming a
Weird now.
dated
Yeah.
term.
It's
So
media
I'm a
now.
creative media specialist, which
Hmm.
means I specialize in photo, video,
Hmm.
and I fly drones for a living.
The
Yes, I
other
correct.
two things that you did, that's we went down a dark hole there. The other two things that you did were you did the Trump rally at the church.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. I went there to that church. I was fiending for church, which sounds crazy, but my church was closed, and I had a couple of students that go to my school. They said, well, if you want to come here. I had another friend that went to church with me at my church, and he was like, well, I'm going to go here because they're open. And I'm like, he's like, it's better than nothing. So I went there, and it wasn't my thing. I'm not into like the big mega churches,
Yeah.
Um, I don't like the big production. I don't really need all that. I kind of like just like messages. And I've told people before that like church is like a recharge of my batteries. Like, I have a hard job, and I like going Sunday, and then by Monday I just feel like, okay, I can do this. I just feel
Yeah.
better. And I kind of lay my issues on God, and I just feel better. And it's not necessary even the pastor. It's just like I need the place to
Yep.
go to do that. And I was telling my wife that too. Like, it's like having weights at your home. Like, I could pray, and like should be able to feel God's presence at home, like sitting on my couch.
Yep.
But I'm lazy. Like, I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's like the weights at home. Like, I could lift weights at home, but like if I go to the gym, 100% I don't not lift weights if I go to the gym, So that's what church is for me. Like, I could pray at home, but like if I go to church, it's like I'm going to the gym. Like, I'm gonna do the thing that I'm supposed to do there.
Yep.
So that's what it was for me. So I went to that church, and then they said, hey, we're going to have this rally here. And I was like, I didn't know what they're talking about. I have no idea. And they're like, it's kind of controversial. They claimed when I was there that it was a different organization rented out like a year ago. And then out of nowhere, Trump was going to be at the rally, or not the rally, at this event. Yeah. And so he's like, we didn't want to pull out, and that's against our integrity because we agreed to this, and then so we had to follow it through.
Yep.
I was like, whatever. I didn't care because it wasn't like my church, and I don't care or whatever. But then they had the rally or whatever, and then I saw that you went to it. So
Yeah.
what was it like? Was it?
Yeah. I went in to kind of cover it from a media standpoint,
Uh-huh.
and it's pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I went in there, and when you have your specific rules that you're supposed to follow, like let's say when everybody else is speaking, you can walk around, but when the president is speaking, Secret Service wants you to just stay in the media area.
Yep. I
So
mean, it makes sense. So they can watch people moving and.
yeah, it was a Students for Trump rally. It was almost like an evangelical Christian group,
Mhm.
but it was just a bunch of young kids that went up there and were speaking, and then you had his son Don Jr. He spoke, and a lot of the things he was talking about was Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. He was saying, "Oh, Hunter Biden made this much money from Ukraine. Imagine if I did it." And they rambled on about basically the whole Ukraine crisis that they had, and
Yep.
just it was more like it felt like a rally over an event.
Mhm.
And then Trump got on there and he was speaking. He was greeted with a pretty big like cheer.
Yep.
He was talking about the whole China issue, like he called it the China virus or the Kung flu, which, yeah, it's pretty racist, but
Yep.
we've dealt with 3 years of him and we know that
Yep.
he's stubborn as hell.
Yep.
So he was talking about it, saying that, hey, China should have controlled this virus there. We wouldn't be in this issue.
That's actually
I
true.
actually kind of
That's true.
agree with him
I
on
agree,
it.
yeah.
Because
I
had
agree.
they just put that stuff in, I go into these things to cover with an open mind.
Yep.
And believe it or not, man, once I shared the images, I had so many fucking people message me, I've lost respect for you. Why the fuck would you
'Cause
go
you were
there?
there? Like-
It's like, dude, I cover everything.
I would like to go there just to observe. It's like going to the zoo, man. I want to see the weird animals. You know, like these.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
some weird
man.
animals there. It seemed like
It's-
there were some weird animals there, and
Yeah, it's
I was just curious of your take of what you saw, and
it was different. I'll be honest. Before the election, like in 2016, I went to a Bernie Sanders event. I went to a Trump thing. I even went to a Clinton thing, and it's just interesting. You go in there. I classify myself as an independent, like almost going towards like a libertarian
I'm
route.
starting to become a libertarian.
It's
yeah.
I agree with some shit with the Republicans and some stuff with the Democrats. My whole thing is both sides have fucked us as the American people.
Yeah.
They don't work for us.
Nope.
Why can't we have a third fucking party candidate go in a debate with them?
Yeah.
Even with the event, to me, what I kind of found really weird was there was a couple of African Americans there, and everybody was taking a photo with them. And to me, like what ended up clicking in my head, they're probably gonna use this for social media. Oh, look, they're with us or this.
Yeah.
But in reality, like it was a somewhat of a diverse crowd. You had your Latinos, you had a couple of African Americans, you had your white people there, and it was mostly younger people, which what baffled me is some people wore masks, but majority of them did not. And from what I'm hearing, apparently the church said that they have a new air conditioning unit that can clear 99.9% of COVID. And then I guess the attorney general was like, no, you guys are full of shit.
Yeah.
This is not going to do that. But
Yeah.
I guess they signed waivers that they couldn't sue if they got COVID.
Of course.
Everybody in the media wore masks. My favorite part was, it's funny, I call Trump daddy because he gave us $1,200, so he's my sugar daddy. But it's technically our it's technically our money that was given to us. And then he goes, you see those men and women back there, the fake media, they're gonna basically share all this negative news about me. And I was changing my camera settings and I look up and dude, literally everybody was fucking staring
Looking at
at
you.
me. And one guy was like doing this
That's
to me.
creepy.
He was like, and I just do this. And the guy felt so fucking uncomfortable. And then I'm like, shit, man, like you have to worry about because he gets his crowd. His crowd is pretty passionate.
Yeah.
You're
That's
like-
the stuff that freaks me out is like people get dumb in crowds. And,
Yeah.
It only takes a couple people to really make everything go south. I read this book called Influence, and it's by a guy, a psychologist that actually went to ASU, and he read a famous book, and a bunch of marketers used this book over the years. I think it was written in the 80s, but he does this whole study. He talks about how sometimes people will get confused, like when there was like a car tipped over and it's on fire, and everyone's just standing there and watching the person not be able to get out of the car. Nobody helps, and they're like,
Yeah.
why doesn't anyone help? And then they talk about social proof. So you look around in a group and you're looking for something to be okay. And he was saying it only takes one person. And then you'll see if one person opened that car door, then you'll see like 5 or 6 people, oh yeah, well, let's help them. Or they'll like try to tip over the car. All of them will try to help tip that car over there. But it takes one person to do that. And vice versa is like, you know, if someone's attacked somebody, they look around and like, well, it's okay. Like it's social proof. Like it's okay. He's attacking someone, so we can attack someone. And that's the same thing I feel like with the riots. It just took a few people to do something where like now everyone, or not everyone, a group of people will say it's okay. So these Trump rallies really freak me out because it's like they get really fired up. And I feel like if he did say, let's do this thing that most people on their own would never do. Like they said, oh, let's attack the media. The media is right there. And you're like, oh, not me. And I think if he individually were to say that to a person, I don't think they would do it.
Yeah.
But if it was like a giant group, it'd only take 4 people, maybe 2 people to start coming at you. And then I think you would have a full-on group attacking you. And I don't think it's just a Trump thing. I think it's just humanity
Everything.
thing. Yeah, just people are dumb in groups, and it's like a weird animal thing that we just haven't figured out how to get over as humans yet. And
I'll be honest.
It's scary. I that stuff really freaks me out, and I don't like to be in big groups because of those type of things. Like, they freak me out.
Yeah, when I was leaving the rally, the one thing that I kind of fucking worried about was, one, what if he got his crowd riled up and I'm walking out and somebody just fucking punches me?
You, yeah.
Or now, then I'm in my car and then there was an anti-Trump rally out there. So what happens if people think, oh, this guy's went to the rally, they take a fucking break and hit my car?
No, it's just vice versa too. Like, they think that it's like, okay to attack Trump people or whatever. Like, and you're not even, you're impartial. You're just there taking photos.
It's weird, man, because like I feel both sides are so fucking polarized. You cannot walk them back whatsoever. Like, they're so passionate, but a lot of times they don't fucking realize that you're being used as a tool. Like, even people that share stuff on social media or Facebook and all that stuff. My number one thing is, you see an article, oh my god, I need to share this. Stop for 10 seconds, because we live in cancel culture. Anything you say could get you fired 10 years down the road. So Google it, figure out if it's real, read multiple things. I think when you can read multiple freaking news outlets, you can sometimes put together the real story.
What was the craziest person? Was anyone dressed up crazy at the Trump rally thing? Anyone crazy?
There was a dude.
An outfit that was like all weird? Or?
There was a dude wearing a gigantic fucking Viking outfit, and he put something called Q sent me. And this guy has actually been at the Black Lives Matter protests.
Oh.
And I was like, I've never fucking really researched him. And then I fucking researched him, and he was this alt-right fucking idiot that's like spewing all this hate, saying, oh, Trump has been sent to destroy the pedophile ring in Washington. And 1 week he was friends with the Black Lives Matter guys, and then the other day he walked up and is talking shit to him, saying all lives matter. And I'm like, holy fuck. And then slowly I started noticing him at more places. He was at the Scottsdale Unmasked rally spewing his hatred, and I'm like, this guy is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And at the Trump rally, I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And he was all friendly, and then literally flipped the switch where he's just fucking batshit crazy
yelling.
But most of the people have just been, I don't know, they've just been normal, crazy. Whenever they would bring up Hillary Clinton, they're like, lock her up. Those are the rallies. It's a big difference from the other rallies that I've been covering, because
it's funny that they're still using her as a like, she's not in politics really anymore, but they're still like attacking her.
Let me talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather beat the ladder. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.